What's up guys, it's Johnny Candido of Candido Training HQ, and I just competed in a powerlifting meet on Saturday. If you just want to see the meet footage of just the actual lifts, click on the screen. I have an annotation up right now. But this video is really to give you a full review of some of the things that happen behind the scenes, some of the mindset factors that go into this meet, and really what I was intending on accomplishing, and some of the smaller things that occurred. Okay, so my goal for this meet was just to get a total to qualify for the Raw National meet about a month and a half from now. So I didn't really train to peak for this meet, so I didn't really do much maxing out right before it. But my openers were pretty conservative. It was set at 450 for squat, 280 for bench, and then 500 for deadlift. So pretty much everything I could do very easily and knew 100% there was no way I was going to bomb out. The actual lifting started at 10 a.m. So I woke up at 6:30, and actually the weigh-ins were at 8 a.m. And this is something I really recommend, that if you're going to compete in powerlifting, or really this applies to any other sport, make sure that you're up early enough, I'd say at least 3 hours before your competition. Okay, so the first thing you do at a powerlifting meet is you check in your equipment and then get your rack heights for the squat and bench. And then after that, then you weigh in. I weighed in at 175.5, so very easily in my weight class. And then from there, then you start warming up when your flight is almost ready to go. This meet, there were two flights. There's an A and B flight. So once the A flight started their actual lifts, that's when I started warming up. Okay, so on to the warm-up sets. They felt really good, but the one thing I noticed was I was going really deep, and even people around me were telling me that. And this is a good thing usually, and it really is a good thing overall. But the problem is in a competition, especially when you're low bar squatting too, you want to really cut it as close as possible. You want to go just below parallel. So in my warm-up sets, I actually worked up to a weight that's heavier than my opener. And that's really not typical, but this is only because my opener was so light. So then going into the opener, I felt really confident, and it was pretty easy, but you see that I take it really too low still. That's the problem, is that especially once I got on the actual competition platform, it was really easy for me to just take it too low and think that I needed to go that deep, because it's just really hard to judge what is exactly parallel and just get just exactly below it. I was going into this meet expecting honestly to squat 534, and so my second attempt then is 507. So I'm thinking in my head that this is going to go up pretty smoothly, but then you see here, I go down with it, and again I go too low on this one especially, and I just don't come up with it. This is what's really great about powerlifting, is you can come in with a mindset of all these calculations, if you did this many reps with this, do 1 rep max calculators if you want, but at the end of the day, when the weight is on the bar and it's come competition time, it really is a sport. It's not something you can just add up and then come to a conclusion. Anything can happen when it comes down to actually performing on the platform. So mentally, this was a great test for me, because I just missed a weight that I thought would be pretty easy, and if I miss this again, I'm literally coming home just squatting 450 pounds, which is just way too light for my training. I literally did 465 for 4, and if I just come home squatting 450, there's just really no way around it. That's just a total failure. But in my head, I can't let this get to me. I can't let this negativity get to me. I can't think what if. You can't even think about too many issues technically, because when you're in the meet, you just have to lift the weight, and you can worry about that stuff later, adjust your training later. But for now, all you got to focus on is just getting that weight up.
Good job.
You can do it.
Heel behind hip and fingers, have it, and then the whole small arm.
Just like workout.
So get behind Johnny, you're the big squat.
Go, Johnny!
107 pounds, get behind him now. Go!
Get up!
Go Johnny, let's go Johnny.
Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Yeah! Woo!
Yeah!
All right! Woo! So you see, I just barely grinded that weight up. It was pretty cool. The whole meet atmosphere felt really positive, the way the announcer kind of hyped me up for that squat. But the one bad thing is I did hurt my lower back on that squat attempt, because once again, I still went too low. And once you go too low with the low bar squat, the weight shifts so heavily onto your hips and lower back that then it can become a problem. So right after that lift, I honestly thought that I was not going to be able to finish the meet. I was thinking there was a 60% chance I wouldn't finish it. Maybe I could just get my opener deadlift and then that's it. But it was set at 500 pounds, which is not exactly the easiest task to do if your back is hurting pretty bad. I knew it wasn't any serious structural damage or anything. It was just either a muscle spasm or a muscle, maybe pulled a small muscle or something. But I know I've had this similar injury before and I took 2 weeks off of lifting then. But for this meet, I needed to figure out if there's any way I could just get this meet done and just get the numbers in. So I was really focusing on stretching out my back in between the squat and the bench press. And then come time for the bench, felt pretty good as far as just benching the weight because obviously that's not going to stress the lower back. So I opened up with 280 and that was pretty easy. You see I got that up pretty quickly. And then I actually bumped up to 307. I was planning on bumping up only to around 300 flat. I think it'd be 302, something like that. And then going heavier. But since that felt so easy, I decided to jump up a little bit more than I originally planned. And you see I missed the weight at lockout. And this was really kind of a shock to me. But then once again, it was like squat where I knew I could do it. It was just a matter of just putting it together and not worrying about anything other than just completing this lift.
Good job, Simon.
So you see I locked the weight out. What was funny is for the first time in my life I actually grunted while lifting the weight. And it actually almost felt like that helped a little bit. I mean, I don't know if that does or if there's any reasoning behind that. I'll see moving forward, maybe if I do that again, but it was kind of strange. It helped me just power through the lockout and get the weight in. And once again, I would have been really disappointed if I missed that lift, but mentally I didn't think at all about any of that negativity. You just focus on what you can do and just focus on doing everything you can to accomplish it. Because powerlifting, that's what makes it so great. It's a really tough sport in that it doesn't care about any of these, preconceived notions you have about how strong you are about this or that, what you did in the gym 3 weeks ago, what you did last year. None of that matters. All that matters is getting this weight up and everybody sees you do it. So if you fail, everyone sees that you just failed. That's it. Okay, now on to the deadlift. This is the most interesting part of the meet because, as I said, my back is still really feeling it. But I knew I at least had to hit my opener so then I could compete at Raw Nationals. And I did 405 and it felt really just kind of strange. And I'd say, honestly, I probably couldn't have done more than 6 reps with 405. It was really just 1 rep at a time. And then really the moment of truth came when I warmed up with 475. And when I completed 475, I knew for sure I could at least get my opener done without hurting myself and just get in the Raw National meet and finish and hopefully win my weight class for this meet. I actually got pretty lucky in that there was a chiropractor giving free alignments. So I actually had the chiropractor work on me right before my opener, in between that 475 and then my opener at 500. And that made me feel so much better. He cracked my back in a couple places and it just really helped me feel a lot looser. I mean, I still did not feel near 100%, but at least I felt like I'd have some decent amount of explosiveness, enough to just get through this meet. So I go up to deadlift 500 pounds. Another thing happens that really threw me off my game plan. You guys know I advocate using hook grip, and I just recently switched that. I grabbed the bar and it's a little bit thicker than the bars both in my gym and the warm-up bar. So what happened was I grabbed it and I could feel that I couldn't get my thumb around it completely in a secure position. So I was still able to deadlift 500, but you can actually kind of tell that when I lowered the weight down that it was slipping a little bit. I had to switch to alternate grip, and I haven't deadlifted with alternate grip in over 10 months. So now I have another thing to overcome. My back's still sore, and now I'm switching to alternate grip. And I just went back and actually just went in the warm-up room and just deadlifted. Someone left 315 on. So I deadlifted 315 and then was ready to go for my second attempt with 523 pounds. So I was able to get 523 up pretty smoothly, although it was really slow. I mean, so it's like really my explosiveness, I would say, wasn't on point, but I was still able to control the lift, to use my glutes, to use my legs enough to where they powered the weight up without having to rely too much on my back. Okay, then the last lift, I was honestly thinking about doing 555, or I think it'd be 551, but instead I decided to just do 545, 0.5 pounds, which is a 0.5 pound PR. And I even really felt pretty confident with it, even despite my back, because what's funny is my back actually started feeling better the more I was getting into the meet. So even on my last deadlift attempt, you can see it almost felt like it was easier than the 523. And this is just a really good sign for me. Once my back is fully at 100%, which it'll probably just take a week to be at, I think I'll be able to really try to focus on pushing the deadlift and trying to get in that upper 500 range, maybe 580 or so, hopefully by Raw Nationals. But that's what, it just felt really good overall. And despite all these circumstances, overall the meet was just really a fun meet. It was an extremely well-ran meet, as I said. It was actually ran by a woman named Jennifer Thompson, and she's an incredible lifter herself. She benched over 300 pounds, weighing at, I think, 132 pounds. You can see the video here, and it really is amazing. I think I saw that in person before at Raw Nationals a couple years ago, and I think that was the most amazing athletic achievement I've ever seen. What was kind of interesting was I got drug tested for the first time in my life, which is a bit awkward, but that was pretty cool for me because they do drug test, they kind of drug test the better lifters. Like, it's supposed to be random, but it's, you know, obviously they have certain people they want to test. So then day I won the 181 class, got first place. It was just a really fun time. And I have to say that if you're thinking about doing powerlifting, that you should just do it. Just don't worry about anything. I think the biggest thing that people think about when they're contemplating this is they think that they're not strong enough. And that's just simply not the case for anyone. I mean, I don't think there'd be any lifter that's just not strong enough to compete. You just get out there, have fun. There will be great athletes, but then there'll also be all kinds of athletes. Here you see this guy's, I think, 80 years old, squatting full depth here. No one really is just thinking about, you know, this elitist way of thinking. People aren't just thinking that this guy's really strong, I respect him, then I don't care about this guy. Everyone's just here to have fun. That's how these meets are ran, and it's just an enjoyable experience. I think a lot of people get into bodybuilding just because they don't really know what to do and they like lifting weights. But honestly, I feel like powerlifting has a healthier mindset. It's based on performance. So in this video, I have a link to the USAPL calendar. You can see if you have any meets near you. To get involved in a meet, all you really need to do is just look up the entry form that's on the calendar. It'll link you to it, or at least give you the number of the guy running the meet. And then once you get the entry form, all you need to do is submit that. Then you can buy your membership at the meet. So that's it, guys. This meet was a lot of fun. I totaled, I think, 1361, which honestly, I didn't really hit the numbers I wanted to. But now, moving forward, this was just a really good starting point. And my goal is to hit at least 1400 for Raw Nationals and see where that goes as far as my placing. Also, by the way, I am switching to a high bar full Olympic squat because of this low bar squat issue. So I'm just going to switch to high bar squat. I've honestly done 405 for 10 reps without a belt, literally going full ATG. So I would say that's not going to be an issue. I honestly, well, that equates to about the same thing for a max, maybe even more weight doing an Olympic style squat. So that's what I'm going to do moving forward. I'm going to train hard here for the next 6 or 7 weeks. I'm actually going to jump on my own program leading up to this Raw National meet. So that's it. If you guys are thinking about competing, don't be shy about it. Just go out and do it. I promise you, you'll have fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like the video, support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Words and tours of cyberspace. What's behind the door? The allure of something strange. Of course, that's why I came. The forces are untamed. No corporate or dumb fame or record for chump change.